Are you ready for this?
I'm not sure.
Hi, everybody. Hi, members. Look, this may be a little, navel gazy for people to have us sit here and react to our own video. But it is our 5th anniversary next week. 5 years ago, Richard and I sat in our respective houses and said, we're bored. We're locked in the house. Work is done. We're both into comic books. Let's start a podcast. And 5 years later, here we are.
Yeah, exactly. COVID was a great fuel for creative endeavors. I'll say that.
It wasn't just us. A lot of people started their podcasts in that era. And, it's one thing to start something. It's another thing to keep showing up. So here we are. So our members have requested many of you, not just a couple of you, for us to play our first episode and react to it. So if this is not your jam, you're not hurting our feelings by skipping this live stream. If it's you just want us to do the comics and the show and tell and the things we normally do during the live chat, that's fine. Just a reminder, I'm going to be at WonderCon this weekend. If you see me out and about, please stop me and say hello and shake my hand. I would love to meet you. And Richard will be in his house this weekend. If you happen to stop in there, please don't steal anything or he'll call the police.
I'll be here if you happen to be in the Cleveland area. Give me a call.
All right. So I went to go test the audio and make sure that the video and the audio is working, and it is. But don't panic when I hit play here, because there's no audio at the beginning of the original episode because I screwed it up. We went off to a rousing start with this podcast. And another show note, Richard has a hard out tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, correct?
Right, correct.
So we got to get through this together. Silver Age Sage, exactly. Call me Crow T Robot along with my Tom Servo, Richard. I wish I could have figured out a way to have it.
I meant to hit the desk lock button.
I wish I had to figure out a way to do the silhouettes.
That would have been funny.
That would have been better. But let's do it. All right, you guys ready? Remember, there's going to be no sound, so don't panic. Here we go. The cringe begins. You see what I mean? No sound. Hey, welcome to Bronze and Modern Gods, the podcast about the Bronze Age of comics, the Copper Age of comics, and heck, why not the Modern Age of comics too? Okay, we're done.
Your radio voice is just so prominent. I mean,
what am I doing? I'm definitely putting on a show. By the way, how old is that Commandy shirt? What's going on with the crazy beard and my cheaters?
That's true. Oh my goodness, I didn't even pick that out.
And the really horrible laptop camera from 3 MacBooks ago.
Yeah, we film in glorious 4K now, unfortunately.
Yeah, all right, let's get back to it. I am John Hughes, and as always, I'm joined by my best buddy, Richard Brown. Hi, Richard. As always. It's our first episode. How can it be as always?
Yeah, that, by the way, I'm sitting in my dining room at the dining room table with the laptop in front of me. So, and my Bose headset, which I still have. Those things are like 8 years old.
I still have my whatever these are. They're indestructible.
Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm a little hyper. I had some coffee.
I am going stir crazy here on this quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit about why we decided to start this podcast. This was kind of the inspiration, right?
Right. Yeah, it's we're both avid comic fans and are limited in our choices about what we can do. We both go to conventions and our LCS and socialize, and we have none of those options right now. And so we've reached out to each other and kind of started this.
Yeah, there is the first appearance of John dying to cut Richard off. Yeah, and give us a little bit about your background. So, what's your focus? What's your collecting focus, and how long have you been doing it?
Yeah, I've been doing since I was a kid. I started collecting back in 1979, and just really had. I started buying books at 79. I don't think I actually started collecting, putting books in bags and things like that until early 80s. But I collected pretty avidly Marvel, some DC, but mainly Marvel books. And right before the 90s hit, I kind of took a hiatus and had other interests and pursued other things. And was cleaning
Girls.
yes, girls got married, had kids. Um, and then I was cleaning my mother's attic and found 6 long boxes, aged long boxes full of comics and bags and boards, and going through those and looking at, wow, that's worth how much now? Really sparked my interest again. And I started about a year and a half ago collecting rather avidly. I have a large collection given the amount of time that I've had to accumulate things. So
what's your focus? What do you like? What's your favorite? There is the second appearance of John cutting off Richard.
I am a Marvel guy. I like Fantastic Four, X-Men, any Spider-Man, especially Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen. Those are really
Take a drink, everyone.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
really my hot spots in terms of collecting. And I've got a X-Men run from 94 through 300, which is my core, I think, for X-Men.
Boing.
And I'm trying to do a Spider-Man run from 50 to 301. That's my next focus. So, but I also jump around. I do a lot of random independents as well, or even DC books. Like I'm a big Teen Titans fan from back in the day. George Perez is one of my favorite guys. So but mainly my focus is Marvel, and that's where my experience really lies in. What about you? I know you're really deep into some of the Golden Age stuff.
Well, this is kind of like the delicious dish on NPR.
Why is that?
We're very quiet, talking about our collections and why we started.
Sweaty balls.
Dabble in Golden Age, but I started, I would say, collecting, not only reading, but collecting since I was 5 years old. I remember the very first comic book I ever had and where I got it from. It was Captain America 155, and I found it on the playground at my kindergarten during recess.
Wow.
And I kept it, and I wish I still had it. I don't have that. I have it mint, but I don't have that copy. But yeah, and I've always collected ever since I was 5 years old. I won't tell you how old I am, but yeah, that's an old show. Where I won't reveal my age. Now I'm like, I'm old. Frank, I have to agree with Frank. What do you think? Much less cringe than I was expecting.
Oh, it's not over yet.
Oh, that's true. That's true. John F's awake. Yeah, Glenn, exactly. When people ask each other questions they already know the answers to. That's pretty much what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I will say it's over 45 years of collecting. My focus is mostly Bronze Age. I love Bronze Age. That's what, when you grow up, that's kind of what you're associated with the most, right?
Right, absolutely.
And Captain America is my jam. Let's talk about that for a second. So I was very insistent with Richard that we can't just have a comic book podcast. It has to have a hook, a theme. It's got to be about something specific. So I was like, it's got to be about the Bronze Age, because it's got to be a Bronze Age focused podcast. And Richard's like, yeah, but I buy a lot of modern books too. We should talk about modern books. And I was like, yeah, I guess I do too. Okay, it was going to be Bronze Gods. And then it became Bronze and Modern Gods. And boy, do I regret that name to this day.
Yeah, it's a little janky, but it also has character. It's like a British sports car.
We're stuck with it. I wish it was I wish we had grabbed Gen X Comics before somebody else did. Somebody else has that. Thank you, David. You were much more professional those days. We sure were. Exactly. I've got a full run of the Silver Age, Bronze Age run from 100 all the way to the bitter end when it became Heroes Reborn, which is Heroes Reborn. I'm gonna be real honest with everybody on this podcast. Heroes Reborn happened, and I quit collecting. I was so bitter and angry that Marvel would ruin the Mark Waid run.
First appearance of Rob Liefeld bashing
By having, Rob Liefeld, who I do have respect for. He's, first of all, I'm the hugest Kirby fan you're going to meet.
There we go.
Yes, you are.
And so I respect what Rob Liefeld does in terms of energy and, anatomy. Who cares? It's about action. And,
Who cares about feet?
I get it. But I did not want to read a Captain America comic book featuring that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I really kind of fell out of it for a few years. And then I kind of got back into it when, I'm going to give them credit. Joe Quesada and Bill Jemas, that whole thing where they just kind of shook Marvel, picked them up by the ankles and shook them and changed things, and were doing really weird things. And the book that really got me back in hardcore was, of all things, X-Force by Michael Allred. And
Really?
because they threw out everything that happened with Rob Liefeld, and reinvented the book. So it's good for the goose, I guess.
Okay. Did you say pause it?
Yeah. You see me head nodding as John rattles off names of writers and artists who I have no idea who they are. And I just nod my head like I know who he's talking about. I know art, and I know when I like a good story. I don't necessarily know who the artist or the writer is for a particular book. But John, with his photographic memory, can just rattle them off. So this is the first time in 5 years of me just nodding my head.
First appearance of Richard's polite head nod. Thank you.
So yeah, that I've been doing it for a long time. I've got a pretty robust collection. Again, Kirby's my focus. Anything Bronze Age Kirby, Devil Dinosaur, Machine Man, New Gods, Commandy.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I buy a lot of other stuff too.
Bronze Age really is, like you say, our sweet spot. And that's how we met. I went to looking for comics, went to a comic shop that you were working at. Well, calling it a comic shop is being generous. It was a gift card store that had a comic section.
1988, by the way.
Yeah,
I just want to throw that out there. That's when we met. Actually, we met before then because we met at the comic shop. That's right.
At the
we
comic
met
shop.
87 when I first started there.
Yeah, and you turned me on to onto different comics, as well as to some nightclubs to hang out with, where I met my wife, and we've been friends ever since. It's been decades.
Weird. For anybody that's watching doesn't know us, I'm in Long Beach, California.
Yeah, Bronxville, Ohio.
So the friendship crosses the country, even in quarantine times.
Yes, definitely. And I've come out to visit you. I came out this year to do California comic convention.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to Terry for the California Comic Con. If you guys
first mention of the California Comic Con.
I've never been to the California Comic Con. It happens every January. It used to be in Orange, California. Now it's in Costa Mesa, California. And how would you describe that show, Richard?
It is a comic book show for comic book fans. It is without any frills. There are no Funkos. There are no T-shirts. There are nothing but people with long boxes full of comics and walls full of slabs.
Strollers filled with comics.
And
that comes later.
Absolutely.
No cosplayers bumping you in the eye with a sword. It is hardcore collecting, which is what we like. That's our jam.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, another inspiration for starting this weekend was supposed to be WonderCon.
Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea. We did it WonderCon weekend. That's when we launched the show. I guess that makes sense because WonderCon is tomorrow.
Yeah.
I didn't even make that connection. How
for 40 out for my homies at WonderCon.
And the thing about an online convention, I actually thought was a joke at first.
April Fool.
Yeah. It's we both have tickets to go to Comic-Con this year, SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con. And it's my first time. It would be my first time. And I was really looking forward to it. I had already got hotel rooms, and we were all talking about plans. And then the situation we're in now, where they're potentially going to be canceling the show.
It's April 12th. you know.
Yeah.
We record this,
Ever the optimist.
so we'll see what happens.
It's
Who knows?
still a possibility, but I was talking to another friend of ours who would be going with us, and if we're going to be, this is going to be the first show, I'd want it to be done right. I know I wouldn't want some half measure kind of event. I want the full experience, including the jostling crowds and the cosplayers and
You'll get
all that stuff.
You can tell my age when I'm like, this is too crowded.
I'm looking forward. We do it once, and after that, then I'll be, the curmudgeon along with you.
It's actually not that. It used to be worse. I've been going every year since 1991. Humble brag. And it's not so bad now because they've gotten really kind of militant about the badges with the RFID. We have to boop in and boop out. So it used to be you could kind of sneak in, really, honestly, back in the day, and it was, as a result, it was way overcrowded. We were there last Saturday and Sunday, able to navigate pretty well without having to be, suffocated. But let's talk about what we're talking about overall this week. Our topic this week, we got a few of them. We're going to talk about the Eternals, Marvel's latest movie sensation. But
Yeah, Evan.
The Eternals, Marvel's latest movie sensation.
Sensation.
what
At
did
the time,
fans think about this book back when it came out in the 70s, and how does it hold up? And is it worth all the investment hype? Also, we're going to talk about the hot
I can't wait to find out.
Bronze Age book of the week, artist spotlight on Frank Miller in the Bronze Age, and our underrated books of the week. So I'm going to let you.
I forgot about the artist spotlight.
yeah.
That just kind of fell to the side, didn't it?
We used to do t-shirts.
Oh yeah, Oh, here we go. I think this is it here, right?
You start this off, Richard, with the Hot Browns book of the week. What is your pick?
My pick this week is this. This is Wolverine #1 of his limited series. There's 4 books in this series. Frank Miller cover, hence our conversation about Frank Miller later. But this was just an iconic book. It's an iconic cover too. This particular cover has been cover swiped a number of times, including the new Wolverine series that came out last month.
And just 5 years later, Richard, we would get ignored by the inker in Palm Springs.
There are a number of different cover swipes for that. But this is a great story. It's Wolverine's first solo story, and introduces certain characters like his wife, Mariko, into the universe. So it's a great book. I think it's been undervalued recently. It's had steady sales. It's one of those books that people buy. There we go. People will
out there
pre-editing.
People will buy and put in long boxes and then pretty much forget. But in the last, say, 2 months, I've seen some spike in the values of this book. CGC 9.8s are about $280.
Can we give Richard all the flowers and all the credit for calling this book 5 years ago as underrated?
Yeah, the price definitely has spiked for this book.
We are exactly, Frank. It's proof of the Bronze and Modern Gods effect.
This takes 5 years.
Our first episode
right now, and that's trending upwards. So it's a good time to buy these things. $290 isn't bad for a book from 1982 that has potentially the most iconic Marvel character on the cover, Wolverine. There will never be any more of these. So I recommend, if you come across a good near mint copy, or you come across a good graded copy, now's the time to buy them before Wolverine enters the MCU. Because once he enters the MCU, books like this that you can buy raw for $50, that won't be the case anymore. You will be spending lots of money for this book and the other books in the series. Wolverine also had another book. This is kind of a secondary pick here. This is the first issue of his first series. This is a full series, not just a limited run.
First ongoing.
Yes, first ongoing series. It is also very good. And this series went on for, wait, how many issues did this go on?
It ran at least until the early 2000s, the original run. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. But it's also a good book to pick up. You may even find them together. This is one of these. That's how I bought this particular copy.
Book you also bought your original copy from me at the comic book shop in 1989 or 88, I think.
Did I really? Oh, that is
Yeah.
so cool. That is so cool. I
I
have that.
remember ordering that book. I had to decide how many copies to order, and it was like, I know this book is just going to blow out, and I want to have at least some to sell as a back issue. So I ordered very heavily on that book.
Yeah, I looked to see what the print run on this was, and I could not find. I could find the print run from the 7th series, which is the one that just came out in 2020.
I'm drinking water, not coffee. Ooh, what's going on?
It's about 190,000 for it. But for this book, I do not have. I looked in Comic-Con, and could not find any kind of information for a book this old.
Well, I was there. That book was a big deal for a few reasons. It was the first X-Men spinoff. X-Men was the hottest book at the time. I believe that came out when Paul Smith was drawing the main title, and Frank Miller was just coming off Daredevil. He had not really been known for anything besides Daredevil at that point. So you had the super popular character in the #1 book that Marvel was selling at the time, plus their hottest creator, plus their hottest writer, Chris Claremont.
Yeah.
And it was the first mini-series Marvel ever did, the limited series.
That's not true. That was Contest of Champions. John, you ignorant slut.
That, along with Hercules by Bob Layton, were the two a big deal limited series that were coming out.
First appearance of Hercules.
And I remember, going from 7-Eleven to Lawson's to Dairy Mart, every place I could to snatch up as many copies of Wolverine #1 from the newsstand, because we didn't have a really good comic shop in our town at that time. So It was a hot book back then.
Yeah, this one's newsstand. I don't. Like I said, I have the one I bought from you still. I'm actually looking for it. It's in another long box someplace. So I wish I will pull it out and show it to you the next time.
Richard's first double entendre.
All right. So Wolverine #1 is your Hot Bronze book of the week. So if you haven't gotten it, maybe is a good time to plunk it down and make that investment. Especially, if they bring him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe proper, now that all the deal has been done. And,
come on, Comic Tom.
It's not Hugh Jackman, it's someone else now. We'll see.
No, now's the time to invest before.
No, I did not.
MCU characters. It's an opportunity to strike it rich.
So talking about striking it rich in the MCU.
Oh no, don't say it.
Our main topic today, the Eternals. Okay, Eternals, 1976.
David, are you sure? Did you speak too soon?
But in our defense, the Eternals was really popular because people were getting hyped up about the Marvel movie. So I remember Eternals #1 was selling for over $100 raw because people wanted it. It was a book that was selling. You could sell. I still have a whole run, but I was selling 1, 2, 3, and 4 all day long.
You sold 1, 2, and 3 to me.
Yeah. So yeah, at the time it wasn't a bad pick. Of course, then the movie came out and changed everybody's opinion. But
oh man, I just like, speaking of striking it rich, here's the Eternals. Here's a good question from Jacob. Did we take any inspiration from any other YouTube channels before launching?
I don't think so. I don't. Well, you and I never did any kind of market research or anything like that. We were watching other people's podcasts, but I don't think anything directly was taken. Something maybe the spirit of some of the ones we liked, but nothing direct.
No, there was, this is not a slam. This is not an insult. Honestly, this is not no shade. I saw Comic Tom for the first time, like around this time. And I said, oh, I can do that. And it wasn't like, oh, he's awful. It was like, oh, I actually kind of know a lot about this. And he's got a really professional, cool looking show talking about comic books. And I've got extra time in Richard, and let's do it. That's kind of where it came from.
Well, yeah. And John, you were running a professional podcast for your work at the time too. Yeah. So you had a lot of expertise. You had the right equipment, and it was something that was a known quantity to you. While for me, as always, I'm just tagging along to your expertise.
I could tell everyone. I had to twist his arm. He did not want to be on camera. And I was like, "You'll be good." No, I won't. You'll be good. And it took him 5 years.
Yeah, just 5.
No, he was great at the beginning, as you can see.
Picture it. Jack Kirby is back at Marvel after a somewhat rocky run at DC, with the New Gods getting canceled after 2 years, and then OMAC and Commandy actually being his most successful title over there. And about 1975, Jack and Carmine Infantino are not quite seeing eye to eye anymore, so Jack dips his toe back in with Stan and says, "Hey, what do you think about me coming back to Marvel?" "Absolutely. Come on back. Come home. We miss you." "Okay. I got a few things I got to make sure that we're square on first. I'm writing my own titles now. I'm drawing my own titles now. I'm editing my own titles now." "Okay, come on back." So we get wacky things like the Mad Bomb saga in Captain America. We get the Eternals, which at the time I was there buying it off the newsstand. People were like, "Oh, this is New Gods Light. I don't know. This is weird."
Yeah.
So now it's been announced that years and years later, this book that is crinkly, thanks to the My Light I have around it, super crinkly, is now going to be the next tentpole release for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I would have never thought this in a million years.
I would have never pictured it either. I would have put my money on some other. There's so many other characters that you could. Nova, for example, which heard rumors of Nova coming to the MCU.
Richard, but look back at what the history of the cinematic universe. Iron Man was the tentpole release. Iron Man always B-string, B-level character. Black Panther, God bless him, C-level.
Yeah.
So
you got me there. I would have never pictured Iron Man, Tony Stark, as being the kind of iconic character he was in the MCU. So I will give Feige the benefit of the doubt. He's done excellent work so far in terms of the MCU and adapting characters. I will give him the benefit of the doubt for.
Let's see how many different ways we mispronounce Feige.
The Eternal. But as a story, I think there were so many other opportunities to pull out of the existing Marvel universe and bring to the MCU that would have made better tentpoles than the Eternals.
So let's talk about the Eternals and the Marvel Universe. At the time, if you go and read the original books or the omnibus, they reprint the letters pages, I believe in that, you can see a raging debate at the time in the letters pages about whether the Eternals were actually taking place in the Marvel Universe. Because Jack being Jack, like, hey, you know what? I don't want anything to do with what's happening over there. I got my own thing. This is it. You take it or leave it. I'm putting it on the plate. If you want to have it, great. If not, I don't care. And he was getting pressure.
God bless John, by the way. Jack Kirby, because he was so big he could do things like that.
He could call the shots back then. There was rumors of editorial tension back in New York because Jack was living in California, sending his pages complete, done, inked by Mike Royer, lettered, everything. Here it is. You got to print this. So some editors were not happy with that. They thought this completely derailed the Marvel Universe in terms of the Asgardian gods and the Olympian gods, and now you've got these eternal gods living on Mount Olympus. Wait, hold on, this doesn't jibe. You got to integrate this some, Jack. And he felt the pressure because around issue 8, I believe, 7 or 8, SHIELD agents start appearing. Not Nick Fury, it's not Dum Dum Dugan, it's none of those guys. It's just random faceless SHIELD agents, but they are called SHIELD in the book. And then it all kind of, they tease it a bit here and there. They don't really come out and say whether it's Marvel Universe proper until we get this.
Oh, yeah.
There is the Hulk, or so it seems. It is a robot Hulk.
Yeah.
It's not the Hulk. It is a robot that was built by, wait for it, college students who built a fully functional robotic Hulk that then gets infused with the excess cosmic energy from the Unimind. Now, wrap your head around that for a minute.
Are you enjoying your Eternals lesson?
Try to parse that. I'll give you a few. But it's actually a fun read. You kind of got to...
What was that?
It's such a hard story to follow.
I mean, my Lord, what am I doing?
Sit back and just take it for what it is, and not.
You do.
Yeah.
You read it as a story of its own, not as
Right,
a part of
Jacob?
a bigger whole.
4 issues later, it's all over. Now, I've always wondered if it got canceled because of low sales or what, because it actually had an annual, which back in those days, Marvels did not do an annual unless you were a big seller. They didn't waste the time on it. Or maybe Jack had a page quota he had to meet. That's entirely possible too, contractually. But it just kind of sputters to a halt with issue 19, which is
Right.
really strange.
So 19 issues plus a annual.
Plus the annual. So, again, like I said, I was there. I was a kid, but I read those letters pages. It was a big debate. What is this book? I have a full run of Comics Journal that I'm reading now on the iPad, thanks to technology, and it's really even more fun to see what was happening in the fan press at the time. People were up in arms over this book. It was a debate, like Jack the Hack. I mean, that's what he was branded at. It was sad, really, that he got treated that way. So it's kind of amazing to see.
A year later, David, he went on to do Machine Man and Devil Dinosaur after Eternals for 9 months.
Them leaning into this book for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right. So what do you think about in terms of collectability or even just speculation for the series?
It was really on fire about a year ago, and it's cooled off quite a bit. I've got the GPA up here now. GPA data on this book in 2018, 9.8s were going for $837.
Oh,
kind of
Jesus.
caught fire last year. It was going up $1,100. The 12-month average was $1,144.
What?
And now the 90-day average is cooled off a bit, $902. And the last sale this month was for a 9.8. Eternals #1 was $800. I mean, that's like a $200+ dollar drop, $300 plus drop in a year. So, with everything going on right now, the movie probably will be delayed. If you want to strike now, might not be a bad time to strike now.
Yeah, I think if you're a speculator,
Listen to John. Go out there and spend $900 on Eternals #1 and 9.8. Go do that.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Prices. I mean, if you look at the prices back, 2020, 2021, and now, it's just insanely. It was insanity back then. We were living in a bubble.
It went up to $3K, right?
For 9.8 Eternals.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. So
Because this is like almost a year and a half before the movie came out.
here it's a good time. The prices are down, and it may be temporary. We'll see that first trailer. Once that first trailer comes out, we'll see a spike.
That's the thing. You grab one now for $800, wait for that trailer to drop, and then put it up for $1,300. You might make out.
Huh?
It's a recipe for financial success.
I'm not wrong. I said buy it for $800, wait for the trailer to drop, put it up for $1,300, you walk away with $500. And that's
It
I
just
know
might.
what happens.
But whenever you wait for the trailer, you're also running the risk that you're going to have something that doesn't look so good, and it would end up not being the kind of bump that you really want to have. But I think it's a pretty good bet. I mean, like I say, I trust Feige, and if he wants to make this a tentpole movie, the first real movie in Phase 4, I think he has a good handle on things.
Hey, when you want financial advice, you don't call a plumber.
Oh, Richard.
Yes, Richard. We should probably preface our show with that. The show.
So I have a couple. I have
The show is aged horribly.
a full run of the Eternals Raw, as well as a few graded. And I came across a great source that I turned you on to him too.
Thank you. Where my 96 came from.
Yeah, he had a number of really mint books, Eternals books. So I picked those up, and I've been turning them over here and there. But I kept a full set of my own.
I don't know the answer to this, but this is my speculation. Different type of speculation.
Oh, geez.
Heavily speculated book back in the day. Jack Kirby's back at Marvel. It was his second, I believe, ongoing title after taking over Captain America again in 1975. They were teasing it for months in the bullpen bulletins, which I love. It comes out, people kind of hoard it, and then it doesn't do anything, and it becomes quarter box fodder for decades. Those Eternals runs bounced around quarter boxes and 50-cent boxes for years.
Wow.
Jesus, Vexer. So I was right. Did I not say buy it at 800 and sell it when the trailer comes out?
This 5 years ago. When was that stimulus? Was it hadn't hit yet?
Stimmy was 2021, right?
Yeah.
No, because Trump was still president. So Stimmy was 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Stimmy.
Getting banged up, bent. Nobody gave a crap. So I don't know what the census is on Eternals now in terms of percentage wise.
Yeah, I didn't look at it. I think it's a hockey stick. You get the 9.8s as being the real rare exceptions, kind of like Amazing Spider-Man 300, where you get a large census, but only a very small number as 9.8s.
And a very unforgiving black cover.
Yes, very much so. And so the 9.8s are you can say justified at the higher price, but it's a huge drop off for 9.6s and anything lower than that.
I know.
Yeah, and issues 1 through 5 are really have value. I think issue 8 too, I believe.
Yeah, I think 8 has the first appearance of one of these Celestials that will be a key figure supposedly in the movie, and number 3, the first appearance of Cersei.
Right. But the rest of the issues, they are collectible, and if you want someone who wants the entire run, they're definitely.
Am I having a fever dream? Angelina Jolie, did she play Cersei?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Worth picking up, and they'll be reasonable in price. I don't think number 1, 2, and 3 really are the ones that are hot books. But and so if you're looking for it in a full run, if you can get past the price for those first 3, you can pick up the rest of them.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, 3 might actually have some legs because Cersei is a pretty popular character. She was in the Avengers for a long time during that Bob Harris run, and she's fun. She's a fun character.
Angelina Jolie.
Is that who's playing Cersei?
That's the rumor. Yeah.
Holy.
Oh, it's just a rumor at that point. She was Thena.
Yeah.
Holy Cersei.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait. I'm crossing my fingers every now and then. I just say, come on, Kevin Feige, please make this work.
As the Eternals is ending its run in 1978-ish, there is another artist that's kind of on the fringes, working in the fan press and getting close to his first professional sale for Gold Key Comics, Twilight Zone, Frank Miller. Yes, Frank Miller's first published work was in Twilight Zone number 84 for Gold Key Comics. And then after that, he went to do some work for DC with a spot 2-pager in Weird War Tales number 68. And then he went to Marvel to work on Daredevil.
I will have you all remember this is before Chat GPT. I had to do all this research.
Yeah.
That's our artist spotlight this week. Good old Frank Miller.
Frank Miller and Daredevil. You couldn't separate the two. The whole saga that he did with oh my goodness, why am I not remembering her
like
name?
my brain fart? Yes.
First appearance of Richard's brain fart.
Elektra, of course it's Elektra.
Of course.
Thank you. The Elektra saga. Yes. It's just it's beyond iconic. It really drew me back when I was reading those books new. It made me wait every single month for the next issue because it was so on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, I remember Daredevil was always the book like, okay, I used all my allowance money on the good stuff, and now I want another comic book, but there's nothing good. I'll pick up Daredevil. I hate Gene Colan. And then 1979 comes around, and I missed it. His first issue 158. I didn't see it on the stands, but I saw 159 with that cover with Bullseye and the Black Widow. And I'm like, oh, who's the guy doing this Gil Kane ripoff kind of art. I like it. Check this out. And me and my best friend at the time, Eric, were obsessed with Daredevil, and it was bi-monthly, low print run. It was a hard book to find on the newsstands. Again, he was always a perennial, also ran B-lister, C-lister. Yeah. And those books were hard to find back in the day, but boy, that changed real fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Frank Miller really put energy into that title and brought a real story to that title that has persisted. I mean, we've seen Elektra several times over the years. Frank.
By the way, there hasn't been one cut, not one camera change, not one angle, not one graphic, nothing. And yet I'm still fascinated.
Miller's Daredevil has been made into a TV series.
Mm-hmm.
It's with his energy and his influences. He's iconic for Daredevil. Daredevil 168 is a big key if you're looking for a broad.
When I say iconic, everybody has to drink because apparently that's the word of the day.
Patina and iconic. The takeaway I have so far from this is that I spend far too much time editing this thing and making it look good. And when I could just hit record and just you and I talk for an hour.
That is an important issue. And I cannot remember the issue number for the death of Elektra.
181.
Kind of looks like one.
181, double side.
Thank you. So if you're looking for collecting keys for Daredevil, those are two really big.
Yes,
keys.
Ariel.
It's
5 minutes
going for good money, as is 181. But I recommend that you pick up a omnibus, or if you can find the full run of Frank Miller, his work for Daredevil, pick it up. It's worth reading. It really is.
Yeah, you kind of got to get past issue 182 where he digs up her grave and checks out her dead body to make sure that she's really dead.
Yeah, and she comes back. You can't kill anybody in Marvel. Everybody, it's all death is temporary in comic books.
I think Uncle Ben has stayed dead. That's the one.
Yes, I read that someplace that unless you're Uncle Ben, you will.
It used to be Uncle Ben and Bucky Barnes.
Yeah.
God bless that Brubaker. You ruined that one for us, but it was a good story.
So Daredevil, or Frank Miller, people may also know him for other books like the Dark Knight series. That was another really powerful story that influenced the Batman character. From that point forward,
the CGC box is not there. On the first episode, it's before that CGC box was there.
It's been sitting there.
Sin City, another property that he did that was made into a movie. He writes dark, gritty, powerful stories, and that's his specialty. Getting into the emotions of a character and drilling down past the niceties and pulling out that kind of energy. That's really where his books go.
Yeah, and it's he kind of went into a very almost stereotypical Frank Miller story kind of thing, but then he'll do things to kind of shake up his reputation, like 300 or Ronin. Ronin was a big deal. That was Frank Miller's leaving Jim Shooter and Marvel, and he's going over to DC, and he's got complete artistic freedom, and it's going to be this 6-issue miniseries on Baxter paper. That was a big deal back then. Baxter. It's white, it's glossy, and it was a huge flop. Heavily ordered. People got it. He had changed his art style to be this kind of cross-hatching, sketchy thing, and people were like, "This isn't the streamlined Claus Janson inked Frank Miller I like." But if you go back and read Ronin as a trade, or all 6 issues in one setting, it's really, really good. It's a very underrated book.
I haven't read it since it came out. I know for a fact, though, it is basically dollar bin material.
It's a John defending Ronin.
Vlog. I mean, if you're trying to, and it was also, again, I was there. The month-long delays between issues, like big delays between issues, almost like not legendary Camelot 3000 delays, but they were delayed.
Oh man, okay. That brings back
Remember how
memories. Yeah.
2012 took like 12 years to come out?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're
So
like,
if
you
you
might be
are,
a doomsday clock, just recently.
oh yeah, exactly. Good parallel. If you are looking to invest in some underrated Frank Miller stuff, there are some things you can grab that are pretty cheap on the fly. I recommend. They're tough to find. If like me, I'm not really going for things that are big investment. I like the thrill of the hunt. Where can I find this in a high grade? I like searching. I don't like it having handed to me easily. So if you like that kind of challenge, Twilight Zone number 84. Good luck. It's his first professional work. It's Gold Key comic, Whitman comic. Tough to find in hard grade. Who's saving Twilight Zone comics from the late 70s? Not I. No one was. Plus, they were being sold in 3-packs at that time at Toys R Us and places like that. So they're very tough to find in decent shape. Weird War Tales number 68, a book I happen to have in high grade just because, again, I like collecting very strange things. I thought, you know what? I want a run of Weird War Tales. I don't know. Don't ask me why.
You want to take this, Richard?
I don't think we've ever done any prep for any show that we've done in 5 years. This is literally us talking on the phone just with cameras pointed at us.
We have to be fair, we have a very rough outline.
Yeah, we have show notes that, yeah.
Hot book of the week is going to be this. My underrated book is this. 25-year-old book is this.
Yeah. And we've been doing that. We have Google Docs for each episode that outlines that kind of stuff. And yeah, so we have that. But in terms of what we're talking about specifically, a lot of it's just stream of conscious and, just back and forth like we normally do.
And Richard will sometimes text me or call me about something, and I'll say, no, save it for the show. Don't tell me, don't do it. Reveal it on the show, talk about it on the show. To quote RuPaul, nothing matters unless that camera is rolling.
Logic. So I happen to have that. And if you like his work on The Dark Knight, there's a comic book called DC Special Series number 21, Christmas with the Superheroes. That is his first art ever on Batman, where he drew a Batman story for that. So these are some underrated gems you might want to grab onto if you are so inclined.
And you never know when books that see bin books or just limited appeal may turn on their tail and become the next hot property because of Kevin Feige and the MCU, or because
first appearance of Richard's internet signal.
Yes, I love
DC all of a sudden is pulling it into some property of theirs. You never know. Dazzler.
I mean, let's go back to New Mutants 98. I like this Liefeld guy's energy. I'm not sure about his feet, but and then all of a sudden I go in my boxes and I got, there's a $1,000 book. Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah. Who'd have known?
Who'd have known?
I mean,
David asks, how many views and subs did the first video get at the time? Surprisingly, for a brand new show with no money spent, no buying followers, we did actually pretty well, Richard. Remember, we had like about 300 views in a week.
Yeah, I was surprised, but comics were the hot ticket at the time. So
yeah, and also both of us are pretty good at SEO. In optimizing with keywords and things like that. And if you look at our early thumbnails,
but yeah, people do that, and it works. So I can't gainsay them for doing it. It's just not something we do anymore.
It works. I just can't do it. I just can't bring myself to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking underrated books. So
I'm sorry, Richard. What was that?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay.
So it's time for our picks for the underrated book of the week. I want you to go first.
Okay. One of the books that's heating up right now is Edge of Spider-Verse number 2. It's the first appearance of Spider-Gwen. It came out originally in 2014. and there are 4 different prints of the book. The first print is the most popular and the most collectible.
No,
There's a variant cover by Land that is a $2,000
week
book
2.
if you come across it.
Wow.
Yeah. The regular copy is heating up tremendously. It's almost a $500 book, depending on where you buy it. But that's first print. There's a second print, and there's a third print, and a fourth print. Yeah, it was a very popular book, and my pick is going to be the third or fourth print.
We've seen it before. We've seen it happen.
Yeah, they're really, really low print runs, because by the time you got to the fourth print, there was limited demand for the title. And people just did not give it the respect that the first print got. So I know for a fact you can go out to eBay right now and buy a copy for $20. I just did it today, as a matter of fact, of the fourth print.
You got to go?
No, I was looking at my first print on the wall.
Oh, okay. Lovingly.
You can buy the third print in bulk almost. And I know I've seen this with Ultimate Fallout #4, the first appearance of Miles Morales. There's second prints to those books.
First appearance of Ultimate Fallout #4.
That for a long time were dollar bin books. And you're seeing those heat up $100 for his.
Got another question from David here. Was it always weekly? Did you miss any? Were you using StreamYard or something else? Always using StreamYard. $800+ a year now. When we first bought StreamYard, it was $268 a year. Just FYI. It was always weekly. We missed our first episode the second Christmas week, right? It was in year 2. It wasn't, we didn't miss one episode the first year.
Right.
Year 2, I think I was in Cancun and you were somewhere else, and we missed an episode. And we've missed like 3, I think, total, right?
We've missed a few because we've been in conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we went to Palm Springs, we missed an episode.
A month ago, we missed 2 in a row.
Yeah. So it isn't, we can't claim that we've not missed any, but this life happens. I've got wife and kids, and we both got careers. And unfortunately, those take a bit of precedence. But we've been really good in terms of the number of episodes we've done, especially the last couple of years where we've been doing 3 episodes a week.
Yeah, we did crank it up.
$150 for a 9.8 now. But for a long time, second prints just were not given the respect. So, but the fourth print for that book, for Edge of Spider-Verse #2, is my pick, and I still think it's a great time to pick it up because it's only going to go up in value.
Is there a newsstand version, or was the newsstand?
Amy, I want to talk about this. It took us about almost a year to get monetized, right?
Right. We needed so many hours of viewing and so many followers for us to actually get monetized.
You used to have 1,000 subscribers, and I forget how many, excuse me, viewed hours. Now they've changed it to 500 subscribers, and they've, I think, halved the required viewing hours. Amy, that was not the most exciting moment for us, and Richard can attest to this. The most exciting moment for us was not when we got monetized. It is when we had our first 100 subscribers, when we hit 100.
Yes, I remember. We were so excited that actually there were 100 people who wanted to waste an hour of their time watching us. That was just amazing. Yeah, money. This show has never been about money. The money offsets some of the expenses we have. Like John was talking, $800.
This show costs us money.
It costs us money, definitely. The recording equipment that we have, was $700 for this and $200 for that, and so it ends up costing us money. We really just do it for fun, and we're really pumped that 100 people out there actually wanted to hear what we had to say.
Exactly. Thank you.
Kind of over by that point.
I don't know if there's a newsstand. I've only seen one particular print of it, and that's the direct. So that's something I could look into. But at this point, I think it was such a small print run by the fourth, they didn't bother doing a newsstand.
All right. Well, that's a good one to grab. Still affordable. And we've seen these third and fourth print books from the 80s and 90s explode.
Amy, not sure how long was that?
The monetization, or
when we got 100 subscribers. I think it was like 3 months, maybe
Something like three or 4 months. Yeah.
We did one video that I wouldn't say went viral. It caught fire, and that was our first video to hit 1,000 views. And I think that was pretty early on. We were talking about something. I can't remember what it was.
I can't.
And it would just happen to be a hot topic that week, and we caught that. The one that really took us over the hump was the comic book CPR 101 video, which, by the way, hits 100K views this week. Yeah, I saw that there was plenty of videos on how to press, but nobody had optimized it in terms of calling it comic book pressing 101. It's really all in the title. That's why,
SEO, baby.
Exactly.
Load in value. I mean,
all 377, for example.
Exactly. And the first appearance of Tim Drake as Robin, I believe, had a newsstand second print, which is impossible to find.
Right.
So that's a great one. Mine is really bizarre.
There you go.
So, really?
Stay with me here.
Okay.
My first underrated book of the week is a bizarre, oddball title. Who would have thought?
I'm going to recommend Star Brand #1. Okay, now I see everybody turning off their computers and walking.
Yeah. Okay, I got to see you pull this one through.
All right. So here's my reason for picking Star Brand #1 as the underrated bronze/copper book of the week. You've got a great story. I mean, say what you want about the New Universe. Star Brand was a great story from beginning to end with a couple wonky fill-ins there. You've got Jim Shooter and John Romita Jr. for the first 7 issues, writing the story about this basic bro in Pittsburgh getting the power to control, all this universal type of cosmic power. And how does he handle it? He focuses on getting laid and fixing his bike.
Awesome.
Which sounds like a really boring book, but it's actually really good. It's really well done. He doesn't try to do anything except for, he sees a terrorist attack on this ship and he tries to help and ends up making things worse. So he gets really angry. This tells you what year this took place. He goes to Libya and tries to destroy the country. It's like he doesn't quite think things through. Then Shooter gets fired from Marvel. The new universe kind of was his baby. So after he leaves, no one gives a crap and they don't quite kill it. They decide to give the book to John Byrne, who at that point was the sworn enemy of Jim Shooter. He sees Star Brand as a Jim Shooter stand-in. So he first destroys the entire city of Pittsburgh, making it Star Brand's fault. I won't spoil how he does it, but let's just say it involves a dumbbell, which is kind of ironic since he was written as a dumbbell. And then the whole new universe becomes this really dark science fiction place where all these things that were caused by Pittsburgh becoming the pit, this seething mass of destruction, and it starts affecting people in weird ways. It becomes this really dark book for the last 8 issues. I loved it. It's a very strange book. But the reason why I picked Star Brand #1 as an underrated pick, not only because of the story, the Star Brand is now in the Marvel universe.
Oh, yeah.
He is. He's part of the Avengers saga. They brought it over. And there may be a chance that the Star Brand is going to be part of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Did you hear Raphael sneeze?
Yes.
First appearance of Raphael sneezing while I'm recording.
The cinematic universe at some point. There's speculation there. So, New Universe, 1986, 87, I think it was, where they decided to do this heavily ordered, heavily speculated book. There are tons of copies out there. Now, notice I said tons of copies. I did not say tons of high-grade copies, because you got another example like Eternals #1. Hey, this book is going to be huge. It's a new universe. Marvel's creating a new universe. It doesn't work out. It's canceled in 3-4 years. And then again, quarter box fodder for decades.
Yeah.
Try to find a nice 9.8 copy of Star Brand. I dare you. I challenge you, dear viewer, dear listener. Look at this cover. What do you see about this cover?
Black. Yeah.
Black everywhere.
Yeah.
It is tough to find a 9.8 version of Star Brand. So if something does happen, you're going to be glad you got one. You can get them on the cheap now, but you got to hunt for a decent one and just kind of put it away for a while.
Yeah, I don't know why people make those all black covers. They're just they're
Art.
just terrible. Yeah,
They're not worried about you investing. They're creating art.
like that Amazing Spider-Man copy that for 9/11 that was all black. That was all it was black.
36.
Yeah. Oh,
Loves your fingerprints. Fingerprint.
yeah, I get spine ticks just by looking at it, you know.
Well, that's the first episode of Bronze and Modern Gods. What do you think, Richard? We do it?
It was fun. Yeah, it was great.
All right. We will be back soon. Any last words?
No, everyone have a good and safe holiday. Today is actually Easter. So
It's a work in progress.
All right. And with that, we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
That wasn't stay safe.
No, it wasn't. But we get there eventually.
Oh my goodness. I wasn't that bad.
It wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. It
Right?
really wasn't. But of course, John, you have that radio producer kind of background, so that you were the anchor.
I don't know what you're talking about, Richard Brown. Hi, everybody. All right. You have to go, right?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately.
All right. Everybody in the chat, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, for spending an hour with us, for just spending $2.99 a month to be here. We really, really do appreciate it.
And if you're watching this on the replay, this is just a taste of what you get when you become a member. So click join next to the subscribe button so we can offset that $800+ for StreamYard, which is due April 8th for us, by the way. Thanks, everybody. I will see you at WonderCon. Richard, I will see you on Monday.
Yep. Everybody, stay safe.
He said it. Yeah.